Right folks, so welcome back to another video. We're back in the MK8 Golf R today. I know it's been about 3 or 4 weeks since the last real update, but we're finally going stage 3 today. Now if you caught up on the series up until now, you'll know that this thing is full bolt on stage 2. All of the work has been done by MRC Tuning in Banbury, and they made a healthy 460 PS on 99 run and 480 with the help of some octane booster. Now because this platform is still pretty new, they only got unlocked like 2-3 months ago. Most people have been focusing on stage 1 and 2. That's the more popular option, and with stage 3 a lot of the turbos out there are still prototypes, so we're not going to make any claims just yet of what the car is going to do, but it would be nice to see over 500 horsepower 99 run. But yeah, anyway, I think that's enough talking for one intro. What I'll do now is I'll cut to a montage of the stock turbo being removed, and then yeah, we'll show you what we've got. Right, okay, so we're joined by a special guest today, Will from VRS.
Right.
You've brought down a very nice bit of kit today.
So this is the MK8 Golf R Turbo Continental. This is the Turbo Technics version that we're going to run on your car. Obviously Doug's doing all the tuning and everything, we're just supplying the turbocharger for you. This is a brand new unit we've done. So we bought this from TPS, and this was actually done January 2022 this year. So we've been waiting for the software protocol to be released. Now it's been released.
Yeah.
And stage 1's done, stage 2's done. So now you can go ahead and use this on your car, stage 3. This is the original unit. That's your standard size compressor wheel in there and housing. There's no anti-surge in there, just a normal comp wheel and housing. So what we've done, we've obviously increased the size of the compressor wheel quite dramatically there.
Yeah,
but we've also added anti-surge in, so this has got a full insert in it. So this should help with any surge that the turbo may have from having a bigger compressor wheel.
Right.
The reason that's done is because if you look at the exhaust housing, to keep reliability and the quality of the turbo and without having to crack it, you see how the exhaust wheel is very close to the wastegate here.
Yeah, it doesn't really leave much for...
It doesn't leave much room to increase the size of the exhaust wheel. So what we've done, obviously we're going to run a bigger exhaust wheel, which you can see in there. There's a slight undercut here on that, but we've not took any of the meat off this. Taking the meat off this isn't necessarily a good idea because you might end up with a crack straight through it from the heat from that. The internals of the turbo, basically we're running a similar to the Turbo Technics V3 quick spool. The compressor wheel is fractionally bigger and the exhaust wheel is the same size on the inducer on the shaft wheel, but the exducer is much bigger. V3 will do 500 horsepower all day at 2 bar on a good engine. So we're hoping that this turbo will achieve slightly more than that, between 5 and 550 horsepower is where we're going to. We don't know yet.
Of course, yeah.
And we're not going to make a claim because there's no point until it's tried on your car. So obviously we're going to try it on normal fuel first, and then we'll put some octane booster in and see what it will do with a bit extra ignition.
Perfect. So what we need to do now, Will, is get this fitted, and then we'll get some feedback.
And ring me when it's 600 horsepower.
Yeah, that's the plan. We'll call you until then. Perfect, thanks for that. Right, okay, so we're back with Dean. Now, reinstallation, we've got the Turbo Technics Hybrid this time. Is there anything that we noticed with the removal of the old turbo and just generally comparing it to the Mark 7?
Yeah, so there's a few extra bits on top of the Mark 7. It's pretty similar to the Mark 7, the way it's set out. So the Continental unit is bigger, so taking the cam actuators out, the coil packs out, sort of followed a little bit of what Elsa wanted, which is the Volkswagen sort of how-to. Just a few extra things on top of the normal, really, like the breathers are different, some of the oil ways and stuff are different. Other than that, not too bad.
So the factory turbo inlet pipe used to be a restriction on the Mark 7, wasn't it? It was quite tapered.
Yeah. So these are a lot nicer.
So that's the one that's come straight off the
Yeah, it comes
market.
straight off the stock one, and the opening is exactly the same size, so we can just use that on the new one. Obviously you've got your E-Venturi pipe that goes on there, so that's all good, no need to worry about that. Then the top, so the coolant bleeder line, this sort of bleeds the whole system. It runs across the top of the engine. It used to be metal on the Mark 7, it's now plastic and very flimsy, so I've just taken that off completely to avoid breaking it.
Oh, so you're taking out 3 of the coil packs just to get a bit more access. We're going to take the last one out now as well because we're going to switch out the spark plugs. It still has the original ones which have done 25k miles, and 5 of those have been since we started the tuning stuff. We're going to opt to just switch them out for OEM ones for now. What do you reckon then, Dean?
Yeah, sort of what you'd expect to see. 25,000 miles. They've not done too badly. Tip's starting to burn out a little bit, so definitely worth replacing now.
There you go, side by side with the brand new ones. Turbo Technics time.
Look at that, straight on.
There we go, so that's mounted on the studs there.
Yeah, so you've got to get some nuts on, get that on tight, and then attach everything up. New V-band.
Oh, brand new, yeah?
Brand new.
Fancy. This is that coolant pipe that we were mentioning earlier, which used to be in metal, but now is made out of plastic. Right, okay, turbo's all fitted back up, Venturi's back on, everything's pretty much ready to go. All we're going to do now is put some fresh oil in. You've already gone ahead and drained the oil, Dean?
Yeah, drain the oil, a little bit dark, but nothing you wouldn't expect to see, so absolutely fine. Now
from factory these are running an OW30, but we're going to go for a 530, should be fine, because I'm going to be doing regular oil changes on it anyway. I don't tend to stick to the normal every 10 or 15,000 miles. I'll try to aim for about 3 to 5k. But yeah, we'll have a look at the oil filter, which is on the top of the engine bay, thankfully, like any previous EA888. No particles in there from what we can see so far.
No metal filings, which is good. Bit easier with the lid at the front, isn't it?
Yeah, because before it was at the back, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe it'll stop people from dumping oil all down the side of their engine.
Alright, oil and coolant in. We're just unplugging the coil packs now. We're also taking out the fuse for the fuel control unit. So we're going to crank the car over before starting it fully, get some oil pressure around the system. There we are. Back into life with the hybrid. All good?
You tell me, is anything leaking out of it?
Nothing leaking. Yeah, all good. Onto the dyno cell.
Dyno cell's like a freezer or something.
Yeah, I can tell because you're wrapped up like that.
Yep.
Oh, look at that. Ice outside. Go on, you're gonna get it in one go. Now that we had the car loaded onto the dyno, we could begin some of the tuning and testing of the Turbo Technics hybrid. But as per usual with this channel and any project car that I do, straight away we had a problem. I'll let you listen to it and then I'll explain to you what it is in a second. Now what you just witnessed there was compressor surge at the lower RPM, and that was under full acceleration as well, so it's not ideal. Now it still did make 500 PS on that initial run despite it being all over the place, but what it did mean was we were going to have to work around the problem. I'll insert some of the runs now so you can see how we got on, and then towards the end we'll have a chat with Doug to discuss the final results. So that was a number of runs on the Turbo Technics hybrid. Of course, being a new platform, it's never as straightforward. Any initial thoughts so far on the hybrid and the testing phase?
It's definitely doing more power, but we've got surge, which I think is quite bad, and you're having to artificially hold it back a bit so it doesn't surge. So I think the next revision of the turbo, we'll have to try and get rid of that and hopefully give it a bit more top end as well.
In terms of the actual numbers, we'll get to them now. So standard, this car made 458 on 99 run with the stock turbo,
and now at 519 on 99, 0.3 bar more than what we were running stage 2. It's okay, but I think there's more to be had.
So that's 2.2 bar then?
2.15.
2.15, okay, and 619 newton meters and 99 RON. I saw that we also got a higher number here as well, so is that with the octane booster?
That's the octane booster, just to see if it would step up a lot the way it is just now. It steps up a bit, but not a huge amount.
Of course, this is all work in progress. We're going to try and be nice to get towards that 550 mark with a later revision turbo perhaps, but
I think we're just trying to spool far too quickly with this spec of turbo, and that's why we're having to artificially hold it back below 4K. So you know, the spool is really good, but it's just too much for the engine.
We're going to send some feedback over to Will at VRS and Turbo Technics and work up from here. But it's just nice to show the whole process. Stage 3 is never as straightforward as just stage 1 and 2. You're kind of changing the parameters as such, and the Continental Turbo being completely different to the IS38. There's always going to be some kinks to work out. But yeah, we'll get some driving impressions regardless, and maybe get a few sound clips out there, because it does sound very spooly now, let's say. Right folks, so there we have it. The Golf R's in the 500 horsepower club, even though it does seem to be spinning away most of its power in those clips. But it does sound pretty cool, so we'll let it off. As always, we'll get a first drive video filmed. I haven't really pushed it since bringing it back home. And I'll keep you guys updated on when the next turbo revision is coming. Hopefully you can get rid of some of that surge and get a bit more top end power. But yeah, make sure you are subscribed for all of that if you are new to the channel. Also drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it. And follow my Instagram, TRHamza_, to keep up to date in the meantime. I'll stop talking now and I'll see you in a few days' time.